Morning, Lincoln Nation. This is Captain Thomas. I'm coming to you from the middle of a tank. We're down in with PM16, the tank and void team. This is one of the most critical teams that we have working for us from a ship's force standpoint. For us to get out of the dry dock, we've done a lot of work on tanks from underneath the ship, come up and blasted them and painted them. And then as they finish up their welding and painting of the tank, we have to inspect them and make sure the tanks are in good shape. So we as a crew know that the paint job is solid, that the structural repairs are complete, and that they won't corrode, quite frankly. You can imagine with fluid inside tanks over years that the painting system deteriorates, and so this is a very important team to ensure the longevity of our ship. And so with me I got Pastor Gonzalez, heads up the team, and the way this works is we've got about 126 tanks that we've got to inspect.
Attached to flood dry dock, yes.
Flood dry dock, okay, so we've done a lot more than that from a tank standpoint, but 126 of them are flood dry dock tanks, which means they have to be closed out before we can actually float the ship. Okay, and I imagine as you're going up and down these tanks, some of these tanks are 4 or 5 stories tall. From we're on the 4th deck, 5th deck right now, but it goes down another 4 or 5 decks. Can kind of be pretty hairy. They have to wear fall protection at the time and get around all the tank. And so the rate we need to close tanks, if we're going to undock on time, how many tanks do we need to close a week?
Approximately right now, from the last meeting, we were bringing up estimate of 8.
Okay.
8 of them a week.
So 8 a week will get us there. And I'd like to see 10 a week personally, because early is always better. But obviously, we're driven by the shipyard. Shipyard goes down there, finishes up the tank, calls us, says, "Hey, we're ready for you to inspect it." And if we can stay on about 8 a week, it'll ensure we get out of the dock on time. How many voids and how many tanks are we looking at here?
Altogether for this whole process RCOH, there's attached to us is about 300 to 400. I don't got the real estimate, and then we have additional from the J tanks and all these other voids.
Okay. So over 400 tanks and voids. Obviously, we've gone in and we've painted some of them. We've actually gone into 168 tanks total for painting and coating. You heard 126 are needed for flood dry dock, but they have to close out the rest of the tanks that didn't need work as well. So this team's going to be very busy over the next year. Some of these we can do once we float the ship, but the most important thing are these tanks that need to, no kidding, be done. And then, Mr. Goff, you're a gas-free engineer, right?
Yes, sir.
So what does that mean? What does gas-free engineer do?
I certify this tank as being safe for entry for the personnel.
Okay. So how do you do that? What do you got to do?
I have a 6-gas analyzer, and I take pretty much toxicity levels to make sure the oxygen is within the range it's supposed to be. Make sure there's no hydrogen sulfide, carbon monoxide, or lower explosive event. All
right, so very important, obviously, that we have enough oxygen for our inspectors when they go down there. So Pastor Goff goes down and checks to make sure that that there isn't any gases in there that could cause harm, and to make sure we have enough oxygen, and then we send our inspectors in to do the job. So again, a critical team, especially at this part in the RCOH, as we're closing up tanks and getting ready to float the ship. Certainly appreciate the hard work that you're doing, and until next week, this is Captain Thomas, out.